Deep in the rugged, unforgiving mountains of Montana, a deadly game of cat and mouse is about to begin. The most ruthless Mexican cartel has set its sights on a quiet stretch of farmland in Ironwood Valley, believing it's just another easy target, just another aging rancher to push aside. But they have no idea they couldn't be more wrong. Because Wade Thorne? He's not just any farmer. For 3 decades, he was the most lethal Delta Force commander in U.S. military history, leading classified missions that never made the headlines, operations buried so deep they might as well have never happened. His call sign? Phantom. A ghost. A shadow. A force of destruction that struck without warning and disappeared without a trace. But this isn't just another war story.
No.
This is about how the deadliest cartel in the Western Hemisphere made a fatal mistake, one they would regret in blood. They came for his land, thinking they were in control. But what they didn't know was that they had walked straight into a trap, a battlefield designed by a master of asymmetric warfare. What followed would become legend. In just 5 days, one man and his elite team would dismantle an entire cartel operation, using nothing but a remote farm, decades of hard-earned combat experience, and the razor-sharp tactical mind that made him unstoppable. But before we dive in, I want to know, where are you watching from? And if this story hits you the way I think it will, make sure you're subscribed. Because tomorrow, I've got something even bigger in store for you. The first sign of trouble. The morning frost crunched beneath Wade Thorne's boots as he strode along his property line, his sharp eyes scanning the vast land before him. The dawn light spilled over the Montana mountains, streaking the sky in shades of amber and gold. At his side, Atlas, his loyal German shepherd, trotted silently, ears pricked, nose twitching. Always alert. Always ready. Even at 65, Wade moved with a quiet, dangerous grace, like a predator that had never forgotten how to hunt. His instincts? As sharp as ever. And right now, they were screaming at him. Something was wrong. Kneeling, he ran his fingers across a set of fresh tire tracks in the damp earth.
Deep.
Heavy. And unfamiliar. Not from any local trucks he recognized. Something's not right, boy, Wade murmured, glancing at Atlas. The dog growled low, a sound that confirmed his suspicions. A weathered pickup rumbled down the dirt road toward him. Sarah Bennett, his closest neighbor, pulled up, worry etched deep into her face. She barely put the truck in park before leaning out, her voice tight. Wade, thank God you're out here. Did you hear about the Hendersons? He straightened, brushing the dirt from his hands. What about them? They're gone. Packed up and left in the dead of night. No warning. No goodbye. And this morning, there were men at their place. Big, black SUVs. Guys that don't look like they belong. Wade's jaw clenched. His voice stayed calm, but his mind was already in overdrive. Running scenarios. Analyzing threats. Cartel. Sarah's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's what people are whispering in town. They're moving up from the south, buying up farms. And those who won't sell? She swallowed hard. Well, they have other ways of convincing them. His expression darkened. Have they approached you yet? She shook her head.
No.
But Miller's farm went last week. Same story. Mysterious buyers. More money than anyone should be willing to throw around. And the ones who refuse to sell? They disappear. Wade exhaled slowly. It made sense. Isolated properties. Miles of land. The perfect cover for trafficking routes. Storage facilities already in place. He could see the entire operation forming in his head like a battlefield map. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. Wade, these aren't just low-level thugs. They're organized. Well-funded. The sheriff? He's out of his depth. And no one else is willing to stand up to them. Wade gave the side of her truck a reassuring pat.
Don't worry about me, Sarah.
I've faced worse. Just keep your eyes open. They're moving through this valley systematically. It won't be long before they come knocking on your door. She hesitated, then nodded. You be careful, too. And with that, she pulled away, leaving Wade standing in the cold morning air, watching the dust settle in her wake. A ghost from the past. With a sharp whistle, he called Atlas to his side and made his way to the barn. To the outside world, it was nothing but a simple farm. But beneath the worn wooden planks and rusting tools, a secret. He lifted a hidden floorboard, revealing a dark cellar.
Inside?
A cache of military-grade equipment. Communications gear. Weapons. Tactical gear. Everything he swore he'd never have to touch again. His fingers brushed against the stock of an old rifle, memories flooding back. Memories of places that didn't officially exist, of missions erased from history. His phone buzzed. A text. One he knew was coming. Cartel's moving hard and fast. 7 properties taken in the last month. Watch your back. Wade exhaled, pocketing the phone. Then he walked to his office and unrolled a detailed map of the valley. His land sat at a crucial junction, controlling the main road and overlooking 3 different approach routes. Of course, they wanted it. Then he heard it. The low hum of engines. Through the window, 3 black SUVs crept past his gate, slowly. Too slowly.
Scouting.
Marking their next target. Atlas stiffened beside him, ears flat, teeth bared. Wade scratched his head absent-mindedly. They don't know what they're walking into, do they, boy? The rest of the morning was spent making calls. Calls to men he trusted. Men who had fought beside him in the shadows, in places that would never be named. He dialed a number he hadn't called in years. The voice on the other end answered instantly. KNX. It's Phantom. A pause. Then, damn. Been a long time. How bad is it?
Cartel.
Moving into the valley. Taking farms. Setting up distribution networks. And now? They're coming for mine. A slow exhale. You need backups? Wade glanced out the window at the SUVs disappearing down the road. His voice was quiet.
Yeah.
It's time to settle some old scores, because the cartel thought they were the hunters. But they had no idea. They were the prey. They'd be here soon. A low whistle came from the other end of the call. Need backups? Wade exhaled, watching the horizon. The sun was sinking lower, bleeding orange and red across the Montana sky. Might not hurt to have the old team together again, he admitted. A chuckle. One last mission, huh? You do know we're not as young as we used to be? Wade smiled grimly. Neither are they. A brief pause. Then, I'll make the calls. We're on our way. By the time the afternoon sun hung low, his plan was already in motion. 4 of his old teammates were en route, men who had fought beside him in places that didn't officially exist, executing missions the world would never hear about. Knox, Raven, Winters, their sniper, deadly from a mile away. Cyrus, Blast, Alvarez, the demo expert, a man who could turn anything into a bomb. Zane, Ghost, Voss, communications specialist, capable of hacking into enemy systems like it was child's play. Nash, Kestrel, Mercer, medic, but not just any medic. The kind that could patch you up under gunfire and still take out a squad before breakfast. Together, they had taken down warlords, terrorists, and rogue armies. A cartel? They wouldn't know what hit them. As the sun dipped below the mountains, Wade walked his land again, not as a farmer this time, but as a battlefield commander. Every hill, every tree line, every narrow road, it all held strategic value. He wasn't just defending a farm, he was fortifying a kill zone. And the cartel? They had no idea they were about to walk straight into it. Then Atlas barked. Wade froze, instincts kicking in instantly. The German shepherd stood rigid, ears forward, muscles tense. Vehicles. Approaching. The same SUVs from earlier. Only this time, they weren't just driving by. They were stopping. Wade adjusted his worn baseball cap, rolling his shoulders, letting the tension ease from his posture. He needed them to believe what they saw, a simple farmer. An old man alone. Harmless. Let them think they had the upper hand. Let them make that mistake. Because they'd only get to make it once. The cartel arrives. 5 men emerged from the SUVs, their tailored suits out of place in the rugged Montana landscape. Wade counted 2 more staying with the vehicles, hands tucked beneath their jackets. Armed. Atlas let out a low growl, barely restrained. Wade knelt, running his hand over the dog's head, keeping him calm. Not yet. The man leading the group strode forward, polished boots crunching against the gravel driveway. His smile was easy, practiced, but his eyes?
Cold.
Steel. Mr. Thorne. Beautiful property you have here. His voice was smooth, professional. He extended a hand. Wade took it, noting the firm grip, the attempt at dominance. Amateur move. What can I do for you, gentlemen? Wade's tone was relaxed, friendly, giving them exactly what they expected. A farmer, unassuming, unaware. Meanwhile, his mind was already logging details. Two men drifting toward the barn, trying to be subtle. One near the gate, hand on his radio. Military training. But sloppy. They were scouting. The leader, Felix Spectro Reyes, gestured to the valley behind them. We represent an investment group. Been acquiring properties in the area. Expanding operations, you might say. Wade leaned against his fence post, posture casual. Inside, he was calculating. 3 ex-military. The rest? Just hired muscle. Thugs who were used to scaring civilians. Not fighters. Not interested in selling. He kept his voice even, calm. Land's been in my family too long. Felix's smile never wavered, but something in his eyes darkened. Perhaps I wasn't clear. We're prepared to offer significantly above market value. He paused, then added, 3 million.
Cash.
A number meant to overwhelm. To make a man's knees weak. Wade barely blinked. He crouched, scratching Atlas behind the ears, buying time, watching. The 2 men by the barn weren't just checking the property. They were studying sight lines. Defensive positions. Not real estate investors. An advanced team. Scouting for an assault. He straightened, his voice unwavering. Money's not everything. Some things aren't for sale. Felix's mask slipped just slightly. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Let me be direct, Mr. Thorne. This valley is changing. Progress, you might say. You can be part of that change and profit from it. A pause. Then the shift, the real message.
Or.
The air grew heavier. Wade remained still, but inside, he was already anticipating their next move. Or, you might find this valley becoming very unwelcoming. Accidents happen. Especially to stubborn old men who don't know when to take a good deal. The words hung between them like a loaded gun. Wade let the silence stretch. Let them feel it. Then finally he spoke slowly, deliberately. Sounds like a threat, Mr. Reyes. Felix's eyes flickered ever so slightly. A split second of surprise. Because Wade wasn't supposed to know his name. It was a calculated slip. A small, intentional reveal. Enough to unsettle them. Enough to make them wonder. Felix recovered quickly, smoothing his expression. The valley is changing. Fighting it would be unwise. From near the barn, one of his men called out in Spanish. Something about security cameras.
Good.
Let them see those. Because the real surveillance? They'd never find. Felix sighed, producing a sleek business card. You have 24 hours. After that, the offer becomes significantly less generous. Wade took the card, glancing at the fake company name. A cartel front. Standard tactic. I'll sleep on it. Felix smirked. See that you do. He turned to leave, but then he hesitated. Beautiful dog. His gaze lingered on Atlas. German Shepherd, yeah? Be a shame if something happened to him. Atlas tensed, sensing Wade's shift in energy. Wade's hand never left the dog's head. His voice was low, steady, like a blade being drawn from its sheath. That would be a very serious mistake. Something flickered in Felix's eyes. A split-second hesitation. He didn't expect that response. They had expected an easy target. Instead, they had just glimpsed something else. Something dangerous. And for the first time, they felt it.
Doubt.
Police Garlight telling and preparing this story took a lot of effort. If you're enjoying it, make sure to subscribe. It means the world to us. Police Garlight. The cartel men retreated to their SUVs, trying to maintain their swagger. Wade watched them disappear down the road. His phone buzzed. KNX. 4 hours out. Teams assembled. Wade typed back. Make it 3. Company's already knocking. Inside, he activated his real security system. Cameras hidden in the trees. Motion sensors monitoring every approach. Everything fed into his command center below the house. He pulled up a satellite image of the valley and started marking kill zones.
Because now,
the hunt had begun.